Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing the birth chart for Jennifer Lopez with the birth time that I came up with for her, because the first two birth times on the internet listed at noon and 4:59 a.m. are deemed inaccurate. There are no known credible sources for those two birth times. But before I get into my birth chart analysis using my birth time I came up with, I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with the other birth times. Now, the birth chart for her listed at 12 noon places her Saturn in the seventh house. This to me did not make sense at all. Anyone who has Saturn in their seventh house, that indicates a long-term marriage, because the seventh house rules long-term committed relationships and marriage. So Saturn in the seventh house, you would either marry one person and it would last a really long time, or the person will be older and more mature than you. So this to me was an automatic fail, and I just tossed that right out the window. Now, the second chart listed for her is at 4:59 a.m., and that places her sun conjuncting the ascendant in Leo at 1 degree, so that would make her a double Leo. This does make sense. However, I did not see any other important planets in the seventh house of marriage, and there weren't any personal planets or other indications of fame, because there's nothing conjuncting her midheaven. Now, not all celebrities have planetary placements on the midheaven, but in this indication, it just didn't feel right to me. So I'm going to get to my birth time analysis of her using my birth time, which I placed at 9 p.m. Now, this would indicate to me more accurate, because of all of the planetary placements and asteroids on the midheaven. Whatever conjuncture midheaven, the whole world will see. And if you're not famous, the general public. But before I get to that analysis, I want to tell you all of the planets in her seventh house. Like I said before, it rules marriage and long-term committed relationships. Jupiter in the seventh house and her Uranus conjuncting Jupiter in the seventh house, that indicates multiple marriages. If you have Jupiter in your seventh house, you will have multiple engagements and definitely more than one marriage. Now, Uranus in that in the seventh house indicates sudden breakups and sudden endings of relationships and marriages. And she has had her fair share of sudden breakups, and all of a sudden the relationship is ending and it's over. Now, the moon is conjuncting her midheaven, as well as Arado, Angel, Magian, and Mars. This is all conjuncting the midheaven in the sign of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius is a freedom-loving sign, so she loves her freedom, and I'm going to get to that shortly. Whatever conjuncture midheaven, you have to look at the angles it aspects with the other planets. So not only is she known for her entertainment and music and singing, but she's also known for all of the marriages that she has in her life so far. So moon conjuncting the midheaven, that has to do with emotions. She's very relatable and she wears her heart on her sleeve. It conjuncts an asteroid called Arado, and Arado has to do with music, songs, singing, and songwriting. It's also conjuncting the asteroid Angel. So she has a dedicated fan base, and they see her as an angel. Also conjuncting that is the asteroid Magian, and Magian has to do with magical and spellbinding effects. So she has a magical spellbinding effect on people through her music and her performances and the entertainment. It's also conjuncting the planet Mars, which has to do with power and ambition. So all of these asteroids conjuncting the moon and Mars makes perfect sense to me because that explains her perfectly. Now, the moon in Sagittarius, like I said, that's a freedom-loving sign. And her Venus is in the fourth house, conjuncting an asteroid called Eleutheria. Whatever conjuncts your Venus, you'll love the energies of that asteroid. And Eleutheria has to do with freedom, and Venus, the planet of love. So she loves her freedom. And it's in the fourth house, and I would have to say that she loves to entertain at home. Now, her ascendant is in the sign of Aquarius at 17 degrees. And that would make sense to me because 17 degrees is a famed degree. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that is in her seventh house. So this all ties in together. Also, Aquarius on the ascendant, they have to work for what they get as far as it takes a long time for them to become established. They have to work really hard at it. And this makes sense to me with her because her Saturn is in the sign of Taurus. Saturn in Taurus is indicative of someone who has a career and they don't become established until they're in their late 20s, usually around 29. That's when their career becomes stable monetarily and they reap the benefits of all of their hard work. So she did not become internationally famous until about the age of 29. I think that's when the movie Selena came out. And at that time, she was the highest paid Hispanic actress. And so she rose, her international fame rose around the age of 29. And her Saturn is in the second house that rules money. Now, her Jennifer asteroid, PNA, conjuncts Euterpe, 1 degree in the sixth house of work. Euterpe is an asteroid that has to do with music, and it's conjuncting her Jennifer, 1 degree, on her descendant, her Leo descendant. She also has an asteroid called Melpomene in the seventh house, and Melpomene is an asteroid that has to do with tragedy. So she's had a lot of tragedy in her relationships. So that is all I have. I mean, there's a few other aspects, but what I just explained to you is the basic theme, the basic energy of her birth chart that I think is accurate. And that's all I have. And if you're interested in other charts, synastry charts, I will be back again soon, and have a nice day.